Hey guys, what is up? It is Final Hour here. Welcome to another one of my videos. And in this video, I'm going to be discussing the patch 4.10 no AD carry changes. And I know that you guys know, that I know, that your mom knows, that my mom knows, that your uncle knows, that I know. Sorry if you can't keep up. But anyway, that AD carries are getting a pretty substantial change in terms of their itemization in patch 4.10. So I do want to explain it, and I do want to sort of theory craft and just to see if these changes are going to be a lot better or worse, but Riot's intent is for these lifesteal item changes and just the overall attack speed changes and whatnot is to kind of spice it up in the AD carry role and make AD carries more, I don't know what to say, like more reliable mid game, and also make them stronger mid game so they don't just get blown up like in the current stages that AD carries are in. Because right now, and this is my honest viewpoint as an AD carry, is it's kind of hard to carry because I'll give you an example. So right now when I play in ranked, if I get fed on a champion like Twitch, then okay, I could potentially carry because Twitch is actually really strong in this meta. And yes, he does deserve nerfs, even though he's actually getting nerfed in patch 4.10. But it's like I've played Twitch, like a fed fucking Twitch, like 9-1 Twitch, and I would still die to a champion like Jax or to Shyvana. And it's not like it's my fault and my positioning is off, but they'll either flash onto me and just use their wombo fucking combo, stun me, or do whatever. And like they're like 2-1, and I'm 9-1. I'm 7 kills ahead, and I still can't really do anything to a top laner or even to a mid laner, because mid laners can just burst the hell out of me anyway. So it's just, I feel like these changes were definitely needed, and I think I wanna emphasize that I think they're going in the right direction. I do see some flaws in the lifesteal item changes in terms of like just lifesteal nerfs across the board. I think that's going to be pretty bad, but then it's going to be really good, I think, because then like people like Jax who somewhat rely on lifesteal, and Shyvana who builds Blade of the Ruined King are actually going to have a harder time. Well, not like necessarily a harder time, but they're going to have a little bit harder time sustaining with the AD carries. So I think it might be justified, but that's like my one really big skeptical point about like these itemization changes for AD carry. So let's just jump right into it, shall we? Anyway, first things first is a new item called Essence Reaver. Your unique passive, you gain 2 to 8% of the damage dealt by basic attacks as mana. This effect increased based on how much mana you are missing. The attack damage is 50, lifesteal 10%, CDR 10%. Recipe is Vampire Acceptor plus pickaxe plus 975 gold, and the total cost is 2650. This one I am not like crazy about. I could see it work on certain champions, certain AD casters such as Ezreal, Lucian, possibly Varus, even though he doesn't do that much auto attacking, but it would be good for the cooldown reduction for his Q, as well as the auto attacks when he is in lane, because he does burn through mana quite fast. Anyway, but I feel like, I don't know why I have this gut feeling, I feel this item, the Essence Reaver, is going to have the same impact as the Randuin's Hurricane, or the Run-In's Hurricane, whatever that fucking item's called, the Hurricane. The Hurricane currently gives 70% attack speed and on-hit procs. Like, initially when you see the item, you're like, oh, 70% is awesome, and plus, ooh, it does pretty much like splash damage in a sense, but all in all, it's not giving you that much. You're losing out on tons of crit. Like, attack speed's nice and all, but it's not like, it's not crazily making your DPS better. Like, it's a noob trap item, and that's what I feel the Essence Reaver might be. And the reason why I say that is because, sure, it gives you lifesteal, it gives you cooldown reduction, but other than that, it's not that good. It just gives you flat attack damage, and you get mana. So it could be good. Don't get me wrong, it could be good, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. again, I say it could be good on champions that are AD casters, such as Ezreal, such as Lucian, because it will make their spells come up 10% faster, and it will give them tons of mana so they get spam abilities. But then again, it may turn out to be like a run into Hurricane and just be one of those noob trap items that doesn't really do much. But we'll see. I still have my hopes for again, those champions I mentioned before, but you never know. Anyway, second item that's being changed is Doran's Blade. What has been removed is basic attacks no longer restore health on hit. You do get 3% lifesteal, and that I kind of like, even though in the really early stages of the game, on hit effects are better, but that 3% lifesteal, I'm actually really digging. But anyway, you actually get 10 less health and 1 less attack damage, so that's a bummer that they changed that, but I do like the fact that they added lifesteal. I like lifesteal. I don't know why, but I just do. Vampiric Scepter is getting a nerf. It is going from 10% to 8% lifesteal. Same with the Cutlass. It is going, whoa, that's actually a pretty drastic nerf. That when you upgrade to a Cutlass, it still stays at 8% lifesteal. That's actually really interesting. Alright, so that's the Cutlass. Blade of the Ruined King. Blade of the Ruined King is getting a pretty big change in terms of they want to make it more of a situational item rather than a must-have sort of item for top laners and AD carries alike. So if you see an opponent building a lot of health, it's going to help more in terms of shredding that health, but in terms of the utility of the item and the effectiveness of the item in all situations, it's going to be worse. So let me explain that to you guys right now. So the active ability maximum health damage is now 10% instead of 15%. So that's a damage nerf once again. Active ability now steals 25% movement speed rather than 30. Once again, another nerf. It's going to make people more mobile overall if they get hit by the Blade of the Ruined King active. So less damage, less movement steal or movement speed steal, and they actually buffed this portion of the Blade of the Ruined King, where current health damage per hit is now 8% instead of 5%. So once again, let's say there is a tankiest Hell Renekton running at you full force. You can use the Blade of the Ruined King active, and even though you're not going to be as quick and burst him with that initial Blade of the Ruined King active, you'll be able to take him down more easily with the 3% passive increase. So you'll be doing 8% on hit instead of 5% of current health damage, which is good. I like that. I like that change, even though I don't like the fact that they nerfed the lifesteal by 5%. Again, I think they're just nerfed lifesteal across the board, which I think overall is pretty bad for AD carries, but they're giving them the more current health per damage, which I think is good. Now, the Bloodthirster. Holy crap. This item, I just think is just going to be like the rush. Like, you need Bloodthirster or else you're going to be behind, because now that Bloodthirster passive change is ridiculous. So, what they removed on the Bloodthirster is that it no longer grants bonus attack damage or lifesteal per unit kill. They pretty much gave it to you up front, and now what it does is lifesteal can now overheal, granting a bloody shield that absorbs 50 to 450 damage based on champion level. This shield decays when out of combat for 15 seconds. So pretty much you're going to become a lot more tankier once you get the Bloodthirster. And I think it's going to make lanes snowball a little bit more, as well as just being a staple item. Like, you must have the Bloodthirster or else you're just going to get wrecked. And I think this is a really good change, because when you have one of those tanky Jaxes or Renektons or Shyvanas coming at you full force, or if you have one of those AP carries who just dive onto you and burst combo you, at least you're going to have a shield so you can stay alive and not just get instantly decimated like you do in patch 4.9 Summoner's Rift. So the Bloodthirster change, I think, is huge. The one downside to this, they did up the attack damage, they upped the lifesteal, so you're losing some attack damage and a little bit of lifesteal altogether, because before you could get, I think, 18% lifesteal and up to 100 damage, I believe. But now you get that shield, and I think that shield's going to be really, really good. And also the gold has went up by 300, so keep that in mind. But yeah, I think that's really interesting that they changed the Bloodthirster, and I think it's going to be a must-have item. Like, move over Blade of the Ruined King. You have to get Bloodthirster because you're just going to do so much damage. And in terms of the attack damage items, the BF Sword has been upped by 5. Infinity Edge has been upped by 10 if you finish it. And the Mercurial Scimitar, I believe, has received one of the biggest buffs in terms of all of these items, because now active ability gives movement speed bonus to ranged characters as well. So pretty much if, let's say, a Leona ults you, and if you use your active, you're going to be much more quicker, so you can't get killed as easily. And you also get more attack damage as well as, oh, that's just the gold getting increased, but it's totally worth it. For 100 extra gold, you're getting 20 more attack damage with this item, as well as movement speed bonus. That is excellent, great, fabulous. I like that change. So far, there's been a couple of things that have been giving me red flags, such as lifesteal nerfs across the board, but there's been promise, such as the 8%, as well as the shield. So you'll be able to survive more, even though you won't be able to sustain more, if that makes sense. So good changes, I think, overall, with the attack damage as well as the lifesteal item changes. Now let's move on to attack speed. Something that I always loved, even when I started League of Legends. For some reason, attack speed just appealed to me. I just loved like kicking people's ass in way back in the day. And when I first played this game, I actually played Dominion, and I would just rush like Phantom Dancer because I thought it was the best item ever. And yes, even on Blitzcrank, oh god, as sad as I am to admit it, I used to rush Phantom Dancer on Blitzcrank. But anyway, their goals for the attack speed items, or the attack speed item changes, is to not necessarily, like, as you guys can see, the cost of it has gone up across the board, but their initial goal is to make it so mid-game AD carries can do more than what they do currently, because currently they're just absolutely trash. But anyway, they made the Dagger attack speed higher, they made the Berserker Greaves attack speed higher, the Zeal attack speed higher, and the total cost actually lower, which is pretty interesting. Wit's End attack speed is at 50%, and the total cost is at 2,500 gold. So you Warwick mains, you're gonna really like this item. Youmuu's Ghostblade active now lasts 6 seconds for ranged champions as well. So both melee and ranged champions will have that active last for 6 seconds. So that's really interesting. And Recipe Cleanup, Stinger, Phantom. Okay. And last but not least, this is not necessarily an AD carry item change, but more of a tank item change. And I think it's actually going to benefit AD carries a lot, because that means we will be able to kite a lot more. So Warden's Mail, passive Cold Steel's attack reduction reduced now from 15% to 10%. So that is pretty crazy. 5% reduction is actually pretty big, even though it doesn't look big. And also the passive has been removed from Randuin's. That passive Cold Steel no longer reduces the attacker's movement speed. So now you'll be able to kite champions such as Jax or Shyvana or Renekton that are fucking just full steaming ahead of you, or full steaming into you. Sorry, I worded that wrong. And just want to kick your ass, and there's nothing really you can do about it. And they also nerfed the passive Cold Steel's attack speed, which is now 10% instead of 15%. And also they did some changes to the support itemization. But since I'm not a support main, I don't really care too much. I'm sorry, but I just don't, because I'm an AD carry main. But I'll freeze it here for just a second so you guys can see it. So they added the Ardent Cresser, the Forbidden Idol, the Mikkel's, the Locket of the Iron Solari, the Athene's Unholy Grail, and Morel Namakan have, I think, overall been nerfed, even though they did give a buff to ability power, but they did nerf the mana regen, as well as the mana regen on Athene's Unholy Grail. So screw you, mid laners. I'm sorry if you're watching this video and you're a mid laner, but they are getting nerfed. So anyway, all in all, what do I think about the changes to AD carries? And this is my honest opinion. And overall, like, when you look at the whole picture of the lifesteal item changes, the attack damage item changes, and the attack speed item changes, overall, the big picture is I think they're getting buffed. I think. Again, I want to say I think because I haven't tested out these changes because they are coming out tomorrow. But overall, I think that it's a good thing. The one thing that's sticking out to me as a sore thumb, and I'm actually gravely concerned about, is the lifesteal changes. Because before, even though you got stunned up, if support like Mikhail crucibled you or you somehow dodged the stun, you could pretty much out-sustain the person who's attacking you, and you wouldn't get, like, sure, you could still get bursted down, but there was still some chance that, like, if you got away, you could just lifesteal it back up. And lifesteal is actually really nice on an AD carry, because if you get hurt in a team fight, you could just go to like a wolf camp and just lifesteal back up and you'll be okay. But my one concern about the lifesteal item is, sure, you're getting more mobility, but is it gonna I don't know how to explain it. If a situation occurs where a tank still catches up to you, how are you still going to kill that tank? Like, how? Like, you're going to have less lifesteal on yourself. So if a tank's hitting you and you're hitting it, you're not getting back that lifesteal that you previously did before. Like, 15% on Blade the Ruined King is now 10%. 5% is a pretty big difference. And I just feel as though you're going to have problems at some point with, sure, you have more mobility, but you're just going to not be able to sustain more, which I think is a problem. But overall, I think you're going to be a lot more mobile, which is going to allow you to kite around tanks and not just get absolutely decimated in the mid game. Late game, I still feel AD carries are actually pretty decent, but once you get to the late game and a 6-item Shyvana is coming at you, you're not really going to be able to do much. I mean, you could kite as much as you want, but that random is going to make you slower. She's going to catch up to you, and you're just going to flat out die. That's just how it is right now in current League of Legends, especially on the Summoner's Rift. So, all in all, I want to say I think these are good changes, and I think they're going to make AD carries have more utility to them, more movement speed, and just overall become better mid-game, and not really late game, because late game I think is still going to stay the same. So in essence, you're going to have a decent early game as usual. You're going to have a better mid-game than before, and then late game is going to stay the same. So all in all, I think they're going to hit their point that they want the mid-game for AD carries to be better, but it's not going to be something that is going to make AD carries like OP the must-have thing like it was in previous seasons and previous patches. So we'll see what happens. I am pretty excited for this update because it is affecting one of my roles pretty drastically, but I think it's going to be an overall good change. So that is it. My name is Final Hour. If you like this video, please comment, rate, and subscribe. And it's probably going to be a pretty long video. Well, I don't know. It's probably going to be like 15-20 minutes. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will be making more videos for you guys soon. That was a pretty awkward ending, but I'm going to leave it in there because I don't give a shit. Peace out, guys. Later.